Thanks for joining. This is part of a series of videos on the Transition Pathway Initiative, or TPI for short. I'm Simon Dietz, Research Director of the TPI Centre at the London School of Economics, and I'm joined by Ali Amin, Carbon Performance Research Project Manager at the TPI Centre. Now, at the TPI Centre we assess companies in two ways: management quality and carbon performance. You can find another video on management quality. This video is on our carbon performance dataset. Ali, what's our carbon performance dataset all about?
So carbon performance is one of the two pillars of TPI's online corporate tool. What it does is essentially assesses companies' existing emissions trajectory and future decarbonisation commitments. Simply put, it tells users whether a company's current targets are in line with the goals of the Paris Agreement.
And how do we translate the goals of the Paris Agreement into benchmarks that we can compare companies with?
Sure. So to assess the company's goals against the Paris Agreement, we construct sector-specific benchmarks, recognizing that different sectors face different challenges. So we currently cover 11 sectors, as you can see on the right-hand side of the slide. These cover hard-to-abate sectors like oil and gas, steel, cement, and all the way to food producers, which go under the radar but are equally important. So one of the main design principles that we see here is covering the most emissions, material emissions in a given sector. And the way that we do this is we use modelling work such as those from the International Energy Agency.
And that's the benchmark side of the equation. What about the company side? How do we collect the company data?
So company data is collected and all the emissions intensity pathways are created in-house. So what we do is we go through hundreds of reports looking at the company's reported emissions, activity and targets, and match these to make sure that these are consistent with the boundaries of our benchmarks. At the end of this, we provide a detailed document to the companies outlining exactly where the information was taken from and the detailed calculation steps we took in order to project the emissions intensity pathway.
And when we take the benchmarks and put them together with the company data, what sort of questions can we answer?
So when we assess the company emissions intensity pathways with the benchmarks, we assess whether this is above or below a given benchmark. So for example, you can see in the slide company A being above all of the benchmarks in all three timeframes, which is the short term 2027, medium term 2035, and the long term 2050. When you compare this against company C, which is highlighted in green, this is below all of the benchmarks and including matches the 1.5 degree, which is the most ambitious of the benchmarks in all three timeframes.
And when investors go onto the TPI online tool to look at the carbon performance data, can you give us a sense of what the results look like?
Sure. So this slide summarizes the year in 2050 for all sectors. You can see here that we provide for each sector a carbon performance alignment breakdown with each of the relevant benchmarks. For example, you can see here that 41% of the steel companies were aligned with the 1.5 degree benchmark in 2050, whereas this drops down to 12% for the oil and gas sector. So you can find sector-specific summaries along with the company pathways, along with the alignment scores, all on TPI's website.
Thanks, Ali. This has been an overview of our carbon performance dataset. For more information about our carbon performance methods and data, check out the TPI website, where you can find the data, a series of reports and explainers. You can also check out more about the TPI in the set of videos we've been recording. Thank you.